and you're checking out a special edition episode of the RCWR Show, as it's our 100th episode, and we're going to be doing this in style, folks. We got us a jammed house tonight. We got wrestling sensation, the famous Justin Reno. We got Christian hip-hop rapper Scuda. We got the lovely co-producer Tammy. Of course, you got the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. It's the RCWR Show, 100th episode. And, folks, it begins right now. Let's go ahead and let's do it. I know some of you are probably saying to yourself, yes, let's do it. Y'all are excited. I'm excited, too. I'll tell you what will be even more exciting for me, and that's if I can find our intro. I know, right? I found the intro. Let's do it.
Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
All right, and what's up, everybody? This is the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. Thank those of you that are checking us out live right now on blogtalkradio.com and also at our sister website at infinityoneproductions.com. Hey, we got the chat room. It's open right now. Feel free to jump on in there while you're at it. Feel free to interact with us live right now on Twitter at Infinity One Prod and Facebook at infinityoneproductions.com. You know we got that chat room. Make sure you jump on in there. We just opened it up. Sorry if there was a little bit of a delay for you guys, but feel free to jump on in there when you get a free moment. We'll also be opening up the phone lines in the later part of the show. So we got a few people that are just all around on this show tonight. I'm just going to go on ahead and I'm just going to pass the mic along, and you all that are here tonight, you all just introduce yourselves. Somebody just go ahead, kick it off.
Well, this is Co-Producer Tammy.
All right. Who else we got?
Lee Sanders, my brother. It's Justin Reno.
There we go. There we go. And I think we're missing one more guy, Co-Producer Tammy. What's going on here?
Well, he's been left a message.
Really? Again?
Yes. So we're just anticipating his coming on to the show. So.
Okay.
When it happens.
I was feeling a Bruce Banner moment right here. You know, it's like you don't like me when I'm angry, but you know, it's cool. Lollipops and rainbows, oh my. Anyway, so, yes, I said lollipops and rainbows. Don't ask me why I said that. I just said that. All right, so we got a jam-packed episode tonight. Hey, you all never thought it was going to be possible, but we made it to 100 episodes, and we are celebrating in style. It's going to be a really fun episode. We're going to get you guys caught up on the very latest in WWE wrestling-related news. Of course, we're going to be talking all things wrestling, as we're just going to be going all over the place tonight. We got the famous Justin Reno in the house. You know we got to show our boy some love, and we got to pick his brain, find out what's been happening with him since last he was on the show. As remember, he had that TNA gut check tryout match. For those of you that might have missed that, they'll definitely give you an update on that. I love it when Justin Reno comes by the show. Our first guest, Tammy, that came on to the RCWR show, what was that, back in March. So it was only fitting for this 100th episode that we look no further than one of our own, one of our favorites, famous Justin Reno. Really glad that you're able to be on this show tonight, man. It really means a lot to us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, and congratulations on your milestone 100th episode, Lee.
Yeah, it's Tammy, 100. Did you ever think it was going to happen?
I had a feeling.
You know, the first thing that comes into my mind when I think about 100 episodes, it's, man, that's a lot of freaking talk.
Hey, Lee, I have my RCWR Show T-shirt on right now. I'm drinking a beer, celebrating this. We're gonna have a good time tonight.
We are gonna have a good time tonight, and man, it is great timing that we are here tonight because we saw a freaking milestone episode of Raw that just really not only set the tone for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view that's going to be coming this Sunday from hot Atlanta, Georgia, but we also have a lot to look forward to for next week's Raw as they really, how's that song go? Was it by the Commodores? You dropped a bomb on me? I mean, they gave us a serious bomb this past Monday night. We can't talk about Ryback, CM Punk. We can't talk about Hell in a Cell. We can't talk any of those things until we talk about that bomb that was dropped on us this past Monday night on Raw. And, folks, in case you might have missed it, we know some of you were flipping back and forth between your football there. It's okay. We got you covered. AJ Lee, the young girl that always likes to find some type of an excuse as a mid-20-year-old to skip her little butt down the ring, turned out she had to step down as the Raw GM because somebody had went to the WWE Board of Directors and had accused her of being in a fraternizing relationship / affair with a WWE superstar. And we just saw an emotional AJ Lee just really not feeling too keen on what had happened right here. We see her talk about her poor upbringings as far as her, and it was really hard to actually believe this, but this came out of her own mouth live on Raw, that she used to be homeless, that she didn't know where her next meal was going to be coming from, and I'm hearing this and I'm saying to myself, as cute as you look, you were going to be homeless. You actually were homeless. And she just has this really inspirational story of just basically climbing from the top and being at the pivotal known as the Raw GM. And from there, folks, we just see her do her little swan song. Paul Heyman comes out. He's actually talking to AJ and the WWE chairman, Vince McMahon, as Paul Heyman tries to put in his bid to be the new Raw general manager, even for a brief moment here, referencing the ruthless aggression era, as Mr. McMahon shot that down, and we would actually find out that there is somebody new in charge of Raw. It's somebody that probably many of you don't really like. And she's not the Raw general manager. No. And it is a she, folks. It is a title. When you think about it, you say, wait a minute, what exactly does that mean? Can't we just call them general manager? What is this title? Their official title is Raw Managing Supervisor, and this person that has this job is none other than Vicky Guerrero. One last bombshell, folks. The person that AJ Lee was having the affair with, supposedly, is none other than John Cena. Now, we would actually find out in the backstage segment that John Cena, who crossed paths with the WWE chairman, trying to find out what exactly was really going on here, as he revealed that him, AJ Lee, they just had a business dinner date, nothing more, nothing less. Vince McMahon, he's really not sure what to make of it, but even he admits that it smells funny, but that his hands are tied. There's really nothing he can do. It is what it is. And that sooner or later, AJ was going to lose her job anyway. So I want to just go around here, and I want to get you all's reaction to this, because I find it funny that real life is being imitated here, because we had those headlines a while back where John Cena, he was supposedly dipping his oats wherever he roamed, and wife wasn't too keen on it. In real life, he got that divorce, and now we hear this happening. I want to go around the table here. Justin, let's start with you. Let's get your thoughts on seeing AJ get the boot, Vicky coming in, and just WWE taking hold of a rip from a major headline, if you will.
Well, it's just my opinion as far as the general manager changing and everything. Just who cares? They change managers all the time. It has a different title. It means the same thing. It's like the person who's running the show. That's not going to change the show. It's like you need to have wrestlers who could work. The wrestlers need to be able to tell a story. The wrestlers need to, make the show worth watching. I don't really care who runs the show. And Vicky Guerrero has done this before on Smackdown, and it's basically like they're just looking for roles to give her. They'll probably take Dolph Ziggler away from her and try to start pushing him, which is good, by himself. But yeah, who cares? I don't care who runs the show. I don't care.
Tammy.
Well, yeah, that is, Justin has a definite point. Honestly, it's kind of just another title and another thing as a more of a just thing to have on the show. And my personal non-fave is Vicky Guerrero. But then again, you have AJ Lee who's skipping down the road to the ring, so it's kind of one is almost just as lovely as the other.
Yeah, y'all bring up good points right there. So you both, just for the record, you both don't care about this storyline. You don't care about WWE trying to do a Law and Order, if you will, as they're ripping from a major headline of the crisis that was happening from John Cena. At the end of the day, the only thing you guys care about, you just want your wrestling, right?
Yeah. I'm getting to the point now because for the longest time I haven't watched SmackDown because basically it's the B show with, the lesser, of the wrestlers that, I don't know how to word this properly. But, SmackDown is the B show and they don't really care about it. But the good thing about SmackDown is they have good wrestling. And I've always watched Raw because that's where the stories happen. And you kind of need to watch Raw in order to understand the storylines and understand what's going on in the company. I'm at the point now, since I haven't been watching SmackDown, I think I'm just going to give up Raw and start watching SmackDown, especially since Raw went to 3 hours. It's funny that now that Raw is an extra hour, I want to watch less of it. It's like it does. The product is worse with the more time because now we have stuff like the newlywed tag team game, and Larry King gets a segment. And now we're back to the times of when they had the celebrity general managers and all that. They don't have the general managers again, but they have the stupid skits and all that crap that I don't care about at all. When they started that newlywed tag team Daniel Bryan Kane thing, I wasn't paying attention worth a damn. I had it on, but I'm sitting on my iPad playing around doing other things. I'm totally uninterested in Raw these days.
You know what? It's funny you mention that, Justin, because when I saw that segment, I said to myself, oh, my God, this is a bad sign because WWE, they appear to be on such a hot streak with the way they were booking Daniel Bryan, Kane, and their little backstage skits. It just seemed like they were on a roll. And then when we saw that silly little newly tagged game last night, I'm saying to myself, really, is this the best that WWE could come up with?
Imagine what else they could be using that time for. It doesn't even matter what they were doing. Imagine all the things they could have been doing instead of that stupid segment. Yeah.
Tammy, your thoughts on that?
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. It's kind of like we both have said, to echo Justin's feelings, is 3 hours of Raw is honestly just more drama. It's no more wrestling. It's just more stuff.
Well, I will say this. Let's talk about some of the events that we saw, some of the matches that we did see this past Monday night. I mean, we did see the semifinals tag match between the Rhodes Scholars, as they had took on the team of Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara. Rhodes Scholars, they actually defeated Mysterio, Sin Cara, so they advanced to take on the tag champions at Hell in a Cell, and it was amazing, the crowd reaction to Team Rhodes Scholars. It was obvious what that crowd wanted, who they wanted to win in that semifinals match. A very strong sign, I feel, as it just goes to show you that at least amongst the seasoned adults, maybe 20 plus, they don't really care about the team of Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara. Let's go around table here. Do you think it's because of just the way Sin Cara has been utilized in the WWE so far, and then the constant injuries of Rey Mysterio, who, let's not forget, originally this match was supposed to happen last Monday, but Rey Mysterio had came down with a mad flu bug or something like that. Do you see a future for the team of Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara, as at this point it really seems like they're being paired together just so Cara can kind of learn something from Ray, but every time you turn around, it seems like Ray's always disappearing.
I think the reason why they're together in the first place is just so that they could rip them apart and that they could feud. What I expected was for them to win the tournament and win the tag belts, hold the belts for a couple months, lose it maybe soon before WrestleMania, and then go into a WrestleMania match, one-on-one against each other. I don't know exactly what they're doing now, but you have a good point. The injuries and the sicknesses and stuff like that. I didn't see the tag match on Raw, and I'm disappointed that I missed it because that sounds like it was a good match. But
it was, and the fan reactions, I mean, they really loved them, some Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes. It was just phenomenal. It was like Bizarro World. I mean, every time Sin Cara and Rey Mysterio were getting in there, they were doing their thing. I mean, really, there was actually boos, and crowd really just was not into them. They cared more.
Well, they were in New York, weren't they?
Yeah, that was a New York crowd. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Nobody knows they're wrestling in New York, and we got, what? We can't talk about New York without showing love to our boy Don from New York, who said, "How about them Giants?" Yeah, they beat the Redskins this past weekend, right?
Mhm.
They beat somebody. I don't know. Was it Don? Was it the Redskins that they had whoop over the weekend, buddy? Let us know. He's gonna type it up, and as we're waiting for that reply, let's talk about what else had happened on Raw. Match-wise, we also saw the newly crowned Intercontinental Champion Kofi Kingston defeat Michael McGillicuddy. There's a name I have not heard of in a long time. I wasn't even aware that he was still on the roster there. And funny thing about this match, as it was happening, Michael Cole, JR, they reveal that The Miz is going to be revoking his rematch clause, so he's going to be taking on Kofi at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Now, keep in mind, Miz actually saw action later on in the night as he fell victim to Mr. Feed Me More, Ryback. I want to pick you guys' brains on this here. I want to start with you first, Justin, because we're looking at Miz. We're just thinking about here, and I said this on the RCWR Show Weekend Report, but I just, it's nice to get other people's opinions on this. You see Miz, who first came back, he's working on the new movie, he's going to be in the new Marine movie, he's this, he's that, he looks good. He gets the Intercontinental Championship title. He holds it for about 3 months. Some would say he was just being a transitional champion until WWE could figure out what to do with him, as he only defended the belt once in those 3 months he had it, and it was in a fatal four-way a couple of pay-per-views back. I believe it was at Night of Champions. Ever since then, he really hadn't been doing anything with it. You go to Raw last Monday. He has a warm-up match with Kofi. He loses that. Then you go to the main event where the Intercontinental title was on the line. He loses that to Kofi. Then you go to Raw this past Monday night, and you see him get destroyed by Ryback. Now you're hearing that he's going to have a match against Kofi. The writing's on the wall. That's going to be another loss. I feel he pissed off somebody in the WWE. Justin, your thoughts on seeing the sudden rise and fall of The Miz, who just keeps, one minute he's hot and the next minute he's cold?
It's like you said, he must have just pissed somebody off backstage or gave someone the wrong look or something like that. I don't really understand it, but at the same time, when you put him in the ring with a guy like Ryback, it's like The Miz gets off on, being sneaky and being smart and, finding ways to beat people that he has no business beating and stuff like that. Going against a guy like Ryback, what's he really going to do? Ryback weighs 150 pounds more than him. There's no way you could just putting them in the ring together was a big mistake in my point of view. It just made the belt look, worthless.
Yeah. I'm getting word now that Scuda is going to be sliding in here. Let's see if we can get him in here. Scuda, you live, my friend? You there, brother?
Yo, what's up?
What's up, bro? Oh, nice of you to join us. What happened?
Man, long story.
I'm glad you could make it. I don't know how much of that you had caught there, but we were talking about the sudden burial that The Miz has been in the past couple of weeks. What's your take on what's been happening with The Miz?
My thing with Miz is either he's done something backstage that we really don't know about, or they're just very. I see what they're doing. It's just like with Dolph Ziggler. They're doing the same thing with Dolph Ziggler. He's the Money in the Bank holder right now, but it seems like he's still not getting that push to put him in that mainstream. Of course, he'd cash it in any time, but what is he doing right now? Of course he's the best seller in the WWE, but just like Miz, at one time Miz, I think Miz was, doing his thing and everything for a while with the Intercontinental belt, but then, like, all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe something going on backstage that we don't know about. Maybe he, made somebody mad. I don't know what it is, or maybe they're just going to eventually throw him into the title picture, maybe sooner than we think. I don't know, but, whatever it is, it's not looking good for Miz, actually.
Nah, it's really not. It's really not. Tammy, you want to chime in on Miz?
I kind of pretty much echo everybody in saying that, sometimes Miz is like white hot, and then all of a sudden, right now, it's like, just that stop dead in your tracks, and yeah, he must have definitely ticked somebody off.
He must have. Like I said, I said it this past weekend, and Scuda, Justin, I don't know if you guys would agree, but the last time I saw a guy get buried this much in the span of a week was RVD when he got, did that violation for smoking weed, and he lost the WWE title and the ECW title in the same damn week. I'm like, man. They do not like Miz right now. Hopefully he gets on the rebound. I'll go out there. I still like the Miz. I think he has a total package. He's got that character you can just hate. It was like he was just put on this wrestling earth to be a bad heel. He just does it so well, and it's really unfortunate that he's just continuing to get buried over and over again. Brings us to another guy. I want to get you all's thoughts on Antonio Cesaro. It seemed like he was a really hot thing there going on there when he first had teamed up with Ascana, and she was doing that whole, and now Antonio is going to say how he hates you all in 5 different languages. And now you take Ascana away from him, and he's really just talking by himself. He just really has been, it could be me, I could be wrong. If you guys disagree, definitely chime in here, but it just seems like he is just really, I won't say suck, but he needs a lot more work as far as his mic work in the ring. He is phenomenal.
With Antonio, of course, U.S. championship holder. It seems like the people that have the titles, the lower card titles, are not really being used like they should be. Like you said a little earlier with the Miz, he's had it for a while, only defended it probably one time. Antonio with the U.S. title, he defended it, if I'm not mistaken, during a pre-show, on a pay-per-view. So it's like, you know, I don't know if they really know what to do with those titles, or they just have it just for fill-ins or fillers, you know. And it seems like with the big title pictures that they're doing, they're just recycling the same feuds. And, you know, I would even go as far as to take the title off of Antonio and throw him in a title picture, you know, throw him in the mix and put him in a title picture. I mean, they're giving it to Ryback, you know, so might as well give it to Antonio.
Yeah. Justin, jump in there, bro.
What's up? I honestly have not seen too much of Antonio Cesaro in WWE. I've seen a couple promos and, you know, I've like half watched a couple matches, but I haven't really been too interested in his character yet. He's
now,
still
is
new.
that
He's
because
still
you
fresh,
just
so.
aren't? Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but is that because you just aren't quite sold on what you see so far, or you just need a little bit more time to really get a good feel for him?
It's not his fault, really. It's WWE as a whole is so uninteresting, and it's hard for me to watch one of their shows all the way through and pay attention to every single segment. Just honestly, you know, that's what it is. It has nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
It's just the shows themselves are the quality isn't that great, so I haven't, you know, seen too much of him, unfortunately.
Let's do a quick rundown of the rest of the matches, and then I want to get you guys' thoughts on Sir Mr. Ryback. We saw Dolph Ziggler defeat Daniel Bryan, Big Show defeat Kane. We also saw Alberto Del Rio defeat Zack Ryder. The main event match of the evening was a double lumberjack. I did not stutter. I said that right. It was a double lumberjack match as CM Punk had defeated Sheamus. Now, before you guys jump out there and you ask the question, wait, CM Punk beat Sheamus cleanly? No, he did not. Big Show had got involved in this in the final few seconds, and he basically caused a big enough distraction to have CM Punk be able to pick up the victory. But post-match, we see Mr. Feed Me More, Ryback, come down to the ring. He wants him some of the WWE champion. He can't wait until Sunday. And we actually see the Lumberjacks not once, not twice. I don't even think it was 3 times. At least on 4 occasions, they kept putting CM Punk in the ring, just feeding him to Ryback as the challenger, just destroyed the WWE champion. We said all we wanted to say about Ryback. I want to start with you, Justin. Just seeing this guy, hearing about his upbringing, how he was at the Plan and OVW, 30 years old, and he is really facing a lot come this Sunday. What's been your thoughts of Ryback so far?
Well, I think putting him in the WWE title match in the main event of a pay-per-view is way, way, way too fast. And putting him in this situation, it's a lose-lose situation because Punk can't lose and Ryback can't lose. You know, either, and it's in a Hell in a Cell, so you can't do a DQ or you can't do something with Heyman. It's I don't know. They rushed it like ridiculous. And I think the only logical thing they could do, not bury anyone, is I think we're going to see Brock Lesnar on Sunday.
Really? And now, despite the way his contract is set up right now, because you know they're in those, I think they're in those final hand select few dates that he can do. You could actually see a Brock Lesnar popping up.
Well, what else are they going to do? I don't see. They've put themselves in a corner with this match. I don't think there's any finish that they could do, you know, without Lesnar coming in that would be satisfying. You know, because. What, if Ryback wins the title, what are we going to have, Ryback versus The Rock in January? Who cares? Ryback's brand new. That doesn't do anything for anybody.
Right.
And at the same time, Ryback can't lose clean because, you know, his whole push right now is based on the streak, and he's still pretty new. His streak is only a couple months old. Yeah. The only way to end it, I think, is to have Brock Lesnar come in and save CM Punk.
Scuda, chime in, man.
Well, what's going on with Ryback right now? Like he was saying, I also do think it's very early that they're throwing him in the title shot, the title hunt. what Ryback reminds me of Bobby Lashley, the strength and everything that he had and everything like that, and it was for nothing really. He never really, they never really did anything. Yeah, sure, he was dominated a few matches, but it was really, worthless, honestly, and I think that's kind of the route they're going with Ryback. Sunday, I necessarily don't think I don't think Brock Lesnar will come back, but I do think that there will be something that a big swerve. Maybe even John Cena might come out, and and even if Ryback does win, I think me personally, I think Ryback will win Sunday and lose it the next night.
Really?
It will be something that happens. It will be something that happens on Raw to where it was stripped. He'll be stripped of it, or it'll just be a rematch, and then CM Punk cheats to win, or something. I mean, if they do put it on him, because I don't think they're gonna let CM Punk win clean. Mm-hmm. There's no way you can win clean in the Hell in a Cell anyway. That's open door for anybody to enter anyway. So, I don't know. I just think if he does win, he's gonna lose it Monday night on Raw. Something. They're gonna build up. They're gonna build that on Monday to have people tune in, and then something dramatic will happen. Especially with this little allegation thing going on with John Cena. So, you never know. I believe he'll pop up in a match. Somehow, some way, John Cena is going to pop up in a match.
One idea that we had talked about over the weekend, and I want to get you guys' thoughts on this. Either one of you guys could just jump on in there. We had this idea of, for the first time in WWE history, for the first time in a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view history, we just see the WWE champion, CM Punk. He could be the perfect guy for this. Great way to build a ton of heat. He could just sit up, beat the crap out of Ryback in a backstage segment, which creates that doubt that Ryback may not be able to have this match with Punk, and that's just going to be the running gag throughout the whole night. And to play off what you said, Scuda, we could actually see maybe John Cena lurking around there, who did say that he was medically cleared on this past Monday night's Raw, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to get into the match, or so we think. Again, the running gag is, will Ryback be able to compete against CM Punk? Now, one scenario I put out there was we do see Ryback, they have the match, CM Punk is just dominating, but then Ryback starts coming back on the offense, looks like Punk is about to lose that WWE title. He tries to just take his belt. Somehow he manages to exit the cage, as that's what needs to happen in a Hell in a Cell match. You got to have the fight go outside of the cage, create more buzz. We can see him try to take off to the back. The WWE chairman, Vince McMahon, he'll pop up. Maybe he's with John Cena, a couple other guys. They're trying to make sure John Cena doesn't leave that route. They try to make him go back into the ring. He fights a little bit more. Let's play off of what CM Punk had did with the fan a couple of weeks back, as he was really being a victim of bullying. If there was ever a time to make a stand and say, don't be a bully, be a star, it's what had happened with Punk there a couple of weeks back. And we could just see him just throw elbows and punches to some random fans in the crowd to basically leave the arena that way with his WWE Championship and have a ton of people in attendance, those that ordered the pay-per-view, go, WTF. Now, here's the question. Could you entertain that thought? Will you be cool with a finish like that? Or would you say as a consumer, you know what, I'm not paying the $40, $50, $60 to see the main event match end like this. I need to see at least a controversial retain by some weird person popping up or something.
My opinion. Sorry. My opinion is, they got to do something like that, and it's not that people aren't going to buy the pay-per-view. It's that people are going to pay for the pay-per-view, and then they're going to see a finish like that, and it's going to piss them off, and then they're not going to get the next pay-per-view, and they're not going to get the next pay-per-view. All they're going to do, they're doing a bait and switch, or if they do something like that, it's just going to piss off the people who do buy the show. And, that's it.
Scooter, go ahead.
Yeah,
bro.
I agree. No, I agree with that. Yeah, if they people just won't, buy into the next pay-per-view. But then again, WWE is all about controversy now. Ever since they've gone into the PG era, of course, it's been watered down a million times, just like watching Teletubbies sometimes, especially with the Kane and Daniel Bryan segments and stuff. But I think the PG era has brought a lot of controversy, especially now since last year CM Punk had the summer of CM Punk or what have you. Mm-hmm. Ever since then, they've done something controversial, something where it seems like it's real, but then it'll end up being scripted later, or it'll be a real situation and they'll just put it into a script. So I think something very controversial might happen to where there's not a clear winner. But then again, it might mess up other pay-per-views, or it might not mess up other pay-per-view. It just might, But I think they messed themselves up for this pay-per-view Sunday. I don't even know if this Sunday's pay-per-view is going to be very good, because they didn't really play off of it Monday. I didn't even know it was a pay-per-view. If I wasn't a good wrestling fan, I wouldn't even know it was a pay-per-view this Sunday. Except for like 2 or 3 times they mentioned it. They didn't really sell the pay-per-view anyway, so.
Let's talk about that. Let's pick you guys' brains. Let's go round table here. We got this pay-per-view coming up this Sunday, and I had actually took the liberty of doing a little bit of research as we were gearing up for this episode, and I just said to myself, I wonder how the pay-per-view buy rates have been for the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Now, surprisingly, some of you all that's newer WWE fans, you may not be aware of this, but come this Sunday, this will be the 4th installment of WWE's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, just the standalone pay-per-view itself. I took a look at the pay-per-view buy rates, and I must admit, I was a little bit surprised at what I had saw, as I believe the first Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, it had like over 280,000 buy rates, and then the next year it sunk down to like low 200,000s, and then the year after that it was like 183,000. So you're looking at that significant drop, and you're saying to yourself, okay, could this pay-per-view maybe break that trend and get the buy rates back up? But then when you look at the card, guys, you look at the card for this Sunday, there really is not that much depth. I mean, look at this real quick, guys. We got, as we just mentioned earlier, CM Punk versus Ryback for the WWE Championship inside of Hell in a Cell. We got Kofi Kingston taking on The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. We got Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio, just a regular singles match. We have Team Hell No, which consists of Kane and Daniel Bryan taking on Rhodes Scholars, Cody Rhodes, Damian Sandow. We got Sheamus versus The Big Show. Now, as of this time at 10:38 p.m. on October 23rd, we still have not found out what's going to be the YouTube pre-show, something that's a first, as usually they have it announced by now. So right now, we're only going with 5 matches. Would you guys agree, after hearing this card, there is no depth, and not only is there no depth, you're missing some names in here.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and bottom line, if I can, Hell in a Cell is not really anything without the Undertaker anyway. I mean, it's not really a pay-per-view without the Undertaker. That's his match, with the exception of probably Triple H. But that's his match. So I don't know. I mean, I'm amped because I am a WWE fan, so I'm amped about every pay-per-view. But it's just something about this pay-per-view, and recently a lot of the pay-per-views lately have just not been really, grasping. I mean, it's not really been a pay-per-view that I need to have this. It's just something that, like, well, I guess I was gonna buy some shoes, might as well watch, pay-per-view, It's not really something that I really need to see,
Oh, God. Go ahead. Y'all feed into that. Go ahead. Next person. Go ahead. Jump in there.
Yeah, I mean, as far as Hell in a Cell being a standalone pay-per-view, I think the reason why it's not successful is because you can't just name a pay-per-view after a stipulation match and then just randomly have that match. There has to be a reason for a Hell in a Cell match. You don't just Punk and Ryback. This is going to be their first match. What they're going to have? They're going to have more matches. What are they going to do that's going to top this? This should be the end of the feud and a Hell in a Cell match. You don't start having your first match in a Hell in a Cell. There's nowhere to go from there.
Yeah.
And this pay-per-view, looking at, I got the card in front of me right now.
Yeah.
I actually ordered Bound for Glory this month. There's no way in hell I'm spending money on this pay-per-view. It looks terrible. There's rematches. There's Sheamus versus Big Show. Do you care? I don't. Randy Orton is so Randy Orton has lost all momentum since his suspension. It's not fun.
Now, guys, look at that card there, though. There's one name that is missing, and it's a big name, I think, that just kind of makes you wonder, will Sunday night be his night? He guaranteed it. Could Sunday night be the night that Dolph Ziggler cashes in that Money in the Bank briefcase to become the new World Heavyweight Champion? Let's go around the table here. Lovely Co-Producer Tammy, let's start with you, and then we'll just go around.
Well, that would definitely be the interruption to, for Punk and, sorry, I'm hitting trying the middle point, but CM Punk and our friend Ryback. But I don't know. I guess they're having him hold on to that case for something. I mean, he's definitely got the skill, level to match up with the two of them.
So wait, but I'm saying, could you see Sunday night be the night that Dolph Ziggler cashes in that World Heavyweight Championship? Because remember, he would be interfering there. What's that? Between the match between Sheamus and the Big Show. Did you see something like that happening, or at this point he'd be stealing a lot of thunder from the CM Punk Ryback match?
I honestly see more of CM Punk and Ryback.
Do you think that would steal the show?
I don't know about steal the show, but definitely an interruption to the show. We're looking at what we were talking about as far as Justin saying that the Hell in the Cell should be the end to the story, not the beginning. And then you have other people saying it's really too soon for Ryback at this point. And
no, Ryback. Hang on. Tammy, I love you, hon. We're not talking about Ryback here. I'm talking about, here's the thing. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. I'm talking about this pay-per-view. I'm looking at it. Justin's looking at it. Scooter's looking at it. We all agree this pay-per-view right now, it doesn't have that, come up out your pockets and order this pay-per-view because it's going to be the bomb. It's not giving you that right now. Now, we all can agree this pay-per-view, it needs all the help it can get as far as shock value. There's one name that I had looked at, and I was looking at this card as early as Friday night, and I say, you know what, Dolph Ziggler is not on this card. Now, it's taking in mind what he just said this past Monday night, guaranteeing that he's going to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase at Sunday's pay-per-view to become the new World Heavyweight Champion, thus meaning he's going to interfere in that Big Show Sheamus match. Most likely he's going to wait until probably Sheamus. I don't see Big Show getting it, but I see Sheamus retaining, and then that's when Dolph Ziggler is going to strike. Would that satisfy you as that WWE casual pay-per-view buyer and saying, you know what, Dolph Ziggler did the unthinkable, this was actually a pretty solid, do you think it would help sell you more into wanting to check out the pay-per-view, just that idea that Ziggler could cash in the briefcase?
Sure, it gives you the ultimate surprise.
Scuda?
Yeah. I mean, I see that. Here's a funny thing that I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but I've noticed every time Big Show is in a championship match, somebody has a Money in the Bank briefcase and is ready to cash it in on them. Like, it never fails. Whenever Big Show's in a title match, somebody has a briefcase to cash in. It was Daniel Bryan the last time. I forget who else it was before then, but every time, that always happens. Now, Dolph Ziggler has said that he's going to cash it in Sunday, but what will be the funnest part, and this will probably be the only reason why I would really like the pay-per-view, just because of Dolph Ziggler. Vicky Guerrero is now running Raw. She's his manager. So the biggest swerve of the night could be him cashing it in on the Ryback and CM Punk match. It's the Money in the Bank briefcase. It entitles him to a championship match whenever he wants, at any time, So that would be a big swerve, and it probably could happen simply because Vicky Guerrero is running the show. She's not necessarily running SmackDown, and of course that would give them both power over Raw and SmackDown. But I would not, because he says he's going to steal the show. I wouldn't put it past them to cash it in on the CM Punk and Ryback match.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's simply because Vicky Guerrero is running the show. And that's we all know that's his cougar. Yeah. So, I think Dolph Ziggler will steal the show. Just like he said, and just like his merchandise says, I believe he will steal the show. Whether it be on the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championship, I believe it'll be something very spectacular to where it'll be the night of the birth of Dolph Ziggler.
Justin, your thoughts, bro?
I think that sounds really good. I wasn't even thinking about that, but now that you bring up Dolph Ziggler, it makes me think that the best situation is after. During or after the Sheamus Big Show match, he'll come out, attempt to cash it in, and, he'll eat a big move and, power away like, everyone does when they're, almost going to cash in. Yeah. And then later, if he came out and did it, again during the CM Punk Ryback match, I think that would really set it over and, make the people who buy the show, if that's what happens, people who buy the show are going to say, wow, they're going to say that was a great show, and I need to get the next show.
Right.
So yeah, that's I wasn't even thinking about Ziggler like that. So
let's quickly run down the card here. I want you guys to officially give your picks for Sunday's winners here. Okay, Sheamus versus Big Show. Who you all got for that one?
Sheamus.
Yeah, Sheamus.
I'm gonna be the eyeball. I'll go with Big Show.
Now let me ask you guys this question. The second part to that: do you see Dolph Ziggler come out to become the new champion?
No.
Okay. All right. Team Hell No: Kane and Daniel Bryan versus Team Rhodes Scholars for the tag titles. Who you got?
No one cares. No, I mean, I guess I would guess Team Rhodes Scholars. No, actually, I would say Team Hell No. Going back to how WWE does swerves and everything, it looks like they're very dysfunctional, but the way that they're dysfunctional always helps them win. So I would say they'll keep it on them for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I think Team Hell No is a hot act right now. I think they're going to keep that going.
Yeah, definitely.
So, Tammy, you're for Team Hell No as well?
Yeah, I really think so. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rose Scholars really have some great momentum, but I still see Hell No pulling it out.
It's a match where you all pretty much said you don't care about certain guys in this match, but unfortunately we got to pick a winner right here. They're both really annoying as hell. Randy Orton versus Alberto Del Rio.
Well, I go with the less annoying and say Randy Orton.
I'm gonna go with Alberto. I think right now, as far as backstage, Randy Orton's just like horrible. He's just very horrible backstage, and I just really think Alberto. They're gonna play off of Alberto and eventually do something with him. I don't think they're gonna really do too much with Randy Orton. And if Randy Orton, and the only way I think Alberto is going to win is by disqualification.
It's so hard to pick a winner when you really don't care even 1% who wins. I don't know. I'm going to say Del Rio. Randy Orton he's done everything that there is to do in the company. There's nothing for him to do. The only thing he needs to do is take a break,
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to save the main event one for last. Let's go with Kofi Kingston versus Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. This should be unanimous right here.
Kingston, obviously.
Yeah, Kingston.
Yeah, Kingston.
All right. I'll go on record, too. Kingston. All right. The main event match for the WWE Championship inside of Hell in a Cell. And we're now getting word. It's so funny, a difference 24 hours can make. Originally, there were 2 Hell in a Cell matches, but now it's just going to be one, and that's going to be CM Punk versus Ryback again for the WWE Championship. We all got.
I'm going to say CM Punk's going to come out with the belt. Unless Dolph Ziggler's in there. No, you know what? I'm going to say CM Punk either way.
Okay.
You going with CM Punk? Yeah, I think Dolph Ziggler is going to be thrown in there. But ultimately, I'm going to say CM Punk.
Okay, so we got 2 CM Punks. Tammy.
Yeah, I do see Dolph Ziggler being thrown in there, but I have a feeling CM Punk's going to retain.
3 CM Punks. Wow. Well, I'll join the flock. CM Punk. I'm tempted to say Ryback, because
I really do think John Cena and Ziggler are going to be thrown in there some way. I mean, if John Cena's just going to be out there, the pink Power Ranger cheerleader, if he's going to be doing something like that, or and Dolph Ziggler just coming out.
If John Cena's in there, he better turn heel.
Wow.
I don't think. If he doesn't turn heel, then I don't want to see him in that match. He doesn't need to be in that match unless he does something big like that.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, and I do see that, but honestly, the guy's like the poster boy for WWE. I mean, he'll send out as many tweets as he can. I'm not going to be here, and I'm going to, they're still going to reference John Cena in every show that they do, and I just can't see the pay-per-view going on without his face there somewhere, or they're saying his name, or just him being involved. Of course, they're going to talk about this little allegation thing with him and AJ Lee, of course, but I think he is going to be actually involved, especially since because he told us he was medically cleared Monday. I mean, that was just an open door invitation for him to, do something on Sunday. Especially since it's a no disqualification match anyway.
Exactly. Basically, you need a John Cena to pop up in there.
Yeah. I mean, we need something to boo at.
All right, so let's talk about what you guys have been up to. I know, Justin, last time you were on the show, it was back in September, I believe. You had that big match against the Honky Tonk Man. You didn't quite come out on top, but
he cheated. Did you see that?
I saw it, brother. I saw it.
The ref's all over me when I choke him, but he can choke me. That's no problem, right?
Now, I know before we came on the air, you were telling me about what all had been happening in TNA Gut Check. Just refresh some of the listeners that might have not checked out the last time you came onto the show. Let them know what had happened with the TNA Gut Check. Give them a new update.
Okay, I did the Gut Check seminar in August. I think it was August 18th in Iowa. I drove 6 hours to get there, and there were probably about a dozen wrestlers there. And, they were all good guys. We're all good, we all became friends after this. We're Facebook friends at least and everything else. But, yeah, it was a good experience. I think I came out looking good. In my opinion, I think I had the best promo there. And I went first on everything. So I showed them that, I had, I at least had guts, more than anything else. And, they took notice of that, and Simon Diamond even pointed out to everyone there, because I was first in the ring every time. He's like, I could tell that this guy wants to be here. So me and Simon Diamond we've sent a couple emails back and forth, still talking. Nothing's really, come yet, but, you can't expect anything to happen overnight, so.
Well, let the listeners know, let them know if there's anything that, they can do, whether it's hashtag TNA, Justin Reno, what can they do to try to sway Dixie Carter and TNA to give you that opportunity to have that TNA gut check match?
Yeah, every Thursday I'm having people, including listeners to your show, Lee, every Thursday I get, tag at TNA gut check. Whatever you do, throw my name in there at the Justin Reno, which is my Twitter handle. People go on Facebook, send Dixie Carter things, just do whatever you can. Just make sure, my name is in there, the Justin Reno, and TNA Gut Check, and just, let your voices be heard. Let people know that you want to see Justin Reno, because I have something different that I could bring to the table.
And what events you got coming up? I know you're going to be doing something, I believe, this Saturday. You got the Pro Wrestling Blitz coming up. Let them know about that.
Yeah, this Saturday I got Pro Wrestling Blitz. I'm going to be wrestling a guy named Machine. This is actually going to be the fourth time we've wrestled each other. Every time has been in Blitz. I have not had any footage of our matches, but I'm going to get this one taped. And I guarantee this one's going to be our best match. So I'm really, really looking forward to this match with Machine. He's big, scary dude. But, I think it's our fourth time in the ring together. I think I know how to handle myself just a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then next Friday, November 2nd, I'm going to be back up in Tomah, Wisconsin, wrestling Livewire, who's a Tomah native. So I'm going to be in, his territory. But you know what? That's how I like it, because those fans in Tomah are kind of trashy anyway, so I don't really want them cheering for me.
Right. I hear you on that. And you know what? I love, I always take a glance at your website, whether it's mainly actually just
it's
randomly.
A great site.
It's a nice website, and I love that you keep it updated. You let the wrestling fans know where you're going to be wrestling next. And I always find myself visiting a true story, and Co-Producer Tammy, you can back me up on this. I'm always visiting the site. Either it has nothing to do with Justin coming onto the show. I'm just going at it at my own leisure. And, it's always, updated, nice, cool stuff. One of the things that always jumps out at me is the ticket prices. And I hear so many people talk about, oh, man, I can't go to this event because the tickets are so high. I can't go this. I can't do that. Oh, I don't want to go to the movies. It's too high right now. Folks, listen to this real quick here, okay? I'm not a paid spokesperson, by the way. This is me just being genuine. I know a good deal when I see it. Kids, general admission, $10. Adults, general admission, $15. Hey, you want a front row seat? No problem. $20. Doors are going to be opening up at 6:15 p.m. Venue's going to be at the St. Joe's Park intersection of Ranner and Theodore in Joliet, Illinois. You can see all this information. I think I pronounced that. Is it Juliet or Joliet?
Joliet.
Joliet, thank you. You can see all this information at his website. Justin, I know you wanted to say something. Jump in there, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say, Pro Wrestling Blitz, you come to these shows, every single show, the company gets more and more legit on, like, a professional level. At the last show we had, our lighting rigs were in the ceiling. We had commentary coming one show, and, now they're coming every show, and we got multiple cameras there now. Blitz is going to be a force to reckon with in the future. People need to hop on the Blitz bandwagon now, because Blitz is going to be a big deal.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Blitz is going to be the new ROH, I'm telling
Lord, and that's a whole different other story. We've been hearing so many bad things about Ring of Honor as of late, but you know what? I see guys like Kevin Steen. I keep saying, hurry up and jump that shit, baby, please. Man, seriously. But you can't beat that, though. $10, $15, $20. I mean, you can't beat that. You'll be able to see Justin Reno this Saturday. Go check that out. That's going to be pretty freaking phenomenal. I also can't help but notice here that it looks like Billy Gunn's going to be there, too.
Yeah, every show we got names there. We've had Goldust, Jerry Lynn, X-Pac, Kevin Nash, you know, big names. Blitz is always, Shane Helms was there last show.
Mm-hmm.
There's always somebody there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Check that out. You can go to his website right now at justinreno.com. All the information will be right there. Scuda, my bro, last time you were on here, I know we had played that new track, New. What's been going on with you since last you were on the show, bro?
Well, first I want to, thank you again for having me on the show. Thank you everybody else, Justin and Tammy, for all being on the show and, throwing 2 cents in about the wrestling thing. I really like this. Like, before I get into what I've been doing, man, I've been in the wrestling, birthed into wrestling. WWE. I've been trying to watch TNA. Like I said, I've been trying to watch TNA. But, I've been a big WWE fan all my life and stuff like this. So this is just, cool, the show talking about wrestling, all of that. So, but what I've been doing, just been doing shows here and there. Been doing, I shot a music video and got that out. Got my website up and running. And just been pushing my music, really, For those who don't know, I am a Christian hip-hop artist, but I am a WWE fan, a wrestling fan. So, it's cool, That's just what I've been doing, just doing shows and pushing music, making new music, coming out with a mixtape and everything. So it's just what I've been doing.
And see, I don't want people to be a little discouraged or have an eyebrow raised when they hear Christian, and they're like, rap, and we're like, you would know. I've been trying to tell y'all, you just wouldn't know. That's the beautiful thing about it. Your music, and I think this is a really great comparison I can make. It reminds me of how Q-Tip was in the Tribe Called Quest before he really started jumping out there and, just not caring and was just throwing the profanity and all that out there. You kind of got that nice old school throwback type of vibe to it, and I like that. And it's a very positive message, And Tammy, it's so funny because you and me were kicking back. We were watching VH1 Soul earlier, and I think we were watching a block of Destiny's Child. And, we just started talking about how the music was during that time, and we were talking about how it hasn't really changed too much, as it's still, money, cash,
Yeah.
So it's really nice to be able to hear, a really good positive spin on rap music. And let them know about this mixtape. You got any tracks that's floating around right now, or can they expect that mixtape?
I just released a free track. It is on my website. You can go to the website of www.iamscuda.com. It's IAMSCOODA.com. It's a free track on there. Also, anybody that's listening that has an Android phone, I know the Androids are pretty popular. All you got to do is go to the Play Store, type in Scuda, SCOODA. You can get some music there. I got some free tracks up there for download for people. And the mixtape, I should be releasing it in around December. And like I said, if you just, follow me on Twitter, everybody, I got a Twitter, so I'm always talking on Twitter about, everything, sports from everything. I mean, even though I'm a Christian hip-hop artist, just like Tim Tebow, he's a Christian, but he's a football player. Jeremy Glenn, Christian, but he's a basketball player. So I'm always talking sports or just doing some encouraging words. So I know St. Louis, and I'm from St. Louis. We needed, the Cardinals lost yesterday, but that's another story.
It's all good. Playoffs is all that matters.
Right. But, so, just mainly just check out the website, iamscuda.com. Follow me on Twitter at official Scuda. That's OFFICIAL, and then Scuda, SCOODA. And yeah, that's pretty much where you can find me and check out the latest. And hopefully I'll be coming on here. I actually want to come back on the show next week and talk about this pay-per-view because
I wouldn't mind that. Hey, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. I'll hold you to that. You know what? I know you and me, Justin, we'll all be talking during the week. And, you know, me and Tammy, we actually were thinking it's a little too far ahead to think about it right now. I just want to put this idea out there, and we'll see how y'all schedule look. But, you know, we got this man called Dwayne The Rock Johnson that's going to be popping up at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view in January. You know, maybe we should, you know, do a post-show. You know, we talk about the pay-per-view, hear what the fans got to be saying. Because, you know, Tammy, I think you can agree, when it comes to our post-shows, we be having a hard time with the switchboard because a lot of people be wanting to talk about the pay-per-view.
Hey, I'm down, brother.
Yeah, I'm definitely down. I'll be watching wrestling every week. Now, the only thing is I just can't get into Smackdown. I don't know. It's something about Smackdown. It's just TNA-ish. And there's nothing wrong with it. And there's nothing wrong. No, there's nothing wrong with TNA. I do sneak a peek at TNA sometimes, but it's just, you know, I think TNA, and maybe you guys can agree with me. TNA is more of a wrestling show than an entertainment. You know, I know that was one of the biggest shockers in wrestling when Vince McMahon said we're not wrestling, we're entertainment. You know, that was, you know, I know they kind of stepped on some toes of wrestlers. Like, no, we're wrestlers, we wrestle, you know. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I know they kind of stepped on a lot of people's toes, but, you know, I think, you know, SmackDown is more of the wrestling side. You get more wrestling than you get crazy antics on Monday nights. You got the 3 hours, so you got to fill it in with skits and Broadway musicals and all kind of stuff that they do on. What's that?
You don't have to fill it in with skits. That's why Raw sucks, because they fill it in with skits. That's the mistake. They need to fill it in with wrestling, because Raw had the lowest rating in 15 years yesterday.
Mm-hmm. What was that, 2.5?
15 years, 1.5.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, even in the Attitude era, when they had those, you know, skits and stuff, those were good. You know, it's the difference between good and bad.
Yeah.
And the Attitude era was good. Like GTV, you never know what would go on. Val Venus, you know, that was crazy when he was doing everything he was doing. And was it Tashiku, or I forgot the Chinese people's name, when they were Choppy, and, you know, all of that stuff, and DX, and, you know, all of that stuff. That was entertaining. That was great. But now you got Kane and Daniel Bryan hugging each other. You got AJ Lee skipping around the ring, and, you know, and you got, you know, all this other stuff. It's just not, you know, the touts and all that stuff, and, you know, just get to wrestling. That's why I kind of like CM Punk, because sometimes CM Punk keep me glued to the television, because sometimes, like, man, okay, is this scripted, or is he supposed to say that, or wow, what's going on? Okay, that wasn't supposed to happen, you know.
Look though. So, you know it's bad. You know, and folks, I don't want you guys getting the impression that we're crapping on Raw. We're just really saying, you know, the 3 hours, it's just really, you know, it's better time invested somewhere else. You know it's bad anytime you have a product that is airing for 3 hours. You would think that you would get a lot of wrestling, but the average amount of matches that you get from an episode of Raw in a typical week, if you're lucky, you could probably get 6, 7. Hey, if they're really feeling gracious, you might be able to get 8. Now, you go over to Smackdown, which is just 2 hours, way less talk, more wrestling. I mean, typically, they will actually hammer out 10 matches. That's their average.
You want to know the bad thing about Raw is, and I'll leave it alone, but the bad thing about Raw, which probably hurts their pay-per-view sales, is Raw is from 7 to 10, but Raw would go off 15 minutes after. You know, they'll be 15 minutes after. But if you look at a pay-per-view that you're paying for, they're off like 5 minutes before 10 o'clock or, 10 minutes before. And it's like, wow, every Monday on Raw, you can expect for Raw to go over their time limit, 3 hours and some minutes. Mm-hmm. But on pay-per-views, they're always stopping on time. And it's like it's nothing really at the end that's in shocker. Raw, you get more of a shocker on Raw at the end than you do on pay-per-view. And I think maybe that even hurts the pay-per-view buy rates as well, because you get more on Raw than you do on the pay-per-view.
It's funny you mention that, because as long as I can recall a WWE pay-per-view, and you know what, it's funny because I remember a TNA pay-per-view. I have to go back and look it up, but I remember it was this calendar year. There was some TNA pay-per-view that came on, and they did not go off at the 10:45-minute mark. They instead went off like 5 minutes before 11. And Co-Producer Tammy, I know you and me were kicking back. We were like, wow, they really pushed the envelope here. They were really trying to give the viewers their money's worth. Very valid points. Like every time you turn around a WWE pay-per-view, it'll go off at 10:40, 10:45, and you're like, hey, we still had all this showtime. What happened right here? I mean, we know what happens if they go past their pay-per-view block of time. The feed will just abruptly get cut off. Just look at what happened with that, what was it, that ECW pay-per-view way back in the day.
WCW.
Oh, it was WCW?
Yeah, it was DDP. I don't know who was wrestling, but DDP was in there.
Yeah, you're right. Yep. Very good point. Yeah, it's something that you really don't see too much nowadays. Honestly, they need to just, it wouldn't surprise me at the beginning of the new year. It wouldn't surprise me if Raw just decided they wanted to go back to their 2-hour format, because really they're rolling some serious dice. And, as much as I love Mr. McMahon, the guy is almost 70 years old. I don't want to see him in another match. I see him now. It's like, and I was saying it when I saw him in that street fight with CM Punk. I'm like, I wasn't being sarcastic either. I was like, Grandpa, no. What the hell are you doing, Grandpa? You shouldn't be in there. I mean, it's crazy though, man. It's crazy. I got the links for Scuda, Justin Reno. Check that out. And yes, John, you can before we let these guys go, because they've been on a little overtime here. Yes, you can ask them a question real quick. We're going to show you guys some love. You can go on ahead and get in your questions or comments right now before we let the guys go for tonight. They've had a long day. They got to rest up. Number to call, 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. Don, we're waiting for your call, man. Anytime you're ready. While we're waiting, let's get our good friend Dave from the Michigan area. I know, Justin, Dave had a very great question he wanted to ask you the last time you were on the show. And he wanted me to ask you the question, but I told him, I said, you know what, you ask him that question because it's a really good question. So let's put him on the spot. Let's see if he actually remembers that question. Dave, you're live on air, my friend.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Good.
Hello.
Hey. Hey, Justin, I asked you this on Twitter a couple weeks ago, too, about how do you feel about the old, you lost the Honky Tonk Man, and do you feel like the older guys should be getting you guys over, the young guys trying to make it in the business? They're kind of still holding on to that 80s glory.
Well, here's the thing. I see your point. If and it's a big if, we were on a national scale, I could understand your point. On the indies, I don't think it matters. If we were on television and I dropped to Honky Tonk the way that I did with his half-ass shake, rattle, and roll, I think that would be I don't think that would do very well for my career. But on the indies, I have a video up on YouTube, me versus the Honky Tonk Man. People could search Honky Tonk Man, and my name could come up there, and they could see my match. That right there was my goal, and that's, all I need to do at this point on the indies is get my name out there, because I don't want to stay on the indies. I want to advance I want to be on television. I want to be on pay-per-views. So I think this was, it pushed me a little bit further, and that's all I needed, really.
That's a good question, Dave. What else you got for us, bro?
To really talk about like Raw, which I don't get this really. Maybe I'm not really into the booking part of wrestling. I don't know, but to have the Miz lose to Ryback kind of made no sense to me, and to have Daniel Bryan lose to Dolph Ziggler, which that was a great match. To me, that stole the show.
That was one of the highlights of the night. Yeah.
Yeah. Why have those two guys lose? Just because I get Ryback, I guess, because he's going into a title match. But Dolph Ziggler doesn't even have a pay-per-view match.
Mm-hmm. And your point is Daniel Bryan can use the momentum.
Yeah, give him the build. That just baffles me right there.
That's just
I think
booking,
with that. I think with that, they probably with Ryback winning his match, of course, and with Dolph Ziggler won, didn't he? Yeah. Dolph Ziggler winning, I think that's building up towards Wednesday's main event match. Both of them had wins on Monday. Now, whose momentum is going to slow down? Obviously, Dolph Ziggler is going to lose, but, I think that might build him. They try to build that up for the Wednesdays because I believe they have the main event match on Wednesday night on this new show that I've yet to see. It's called, main event. So I think that's probably one route they probably went with having both of them have momentum, and it's like, okay, they're both on a high level right now. Who's going to be brought down before Sunday?
Right.
Which pretty much is going to be Dolph Ziggler.
Here, let me throw this in there since you brought up the main event. WWE debuted a new show this month. Do they honestly need more television on TV right now? They're on for freaking 8 hours a week.
7 days a week, brother.
Who's going to sit down and watch WWE, the product that they have, and watch it for 8 hours a week? Screw that. Are you serious? What do they need another show for? They need less time on TV.
Lord, what I say, Tammy, a couple of weeks ago, I said the only person, I don't even think your hardcore wrestling fan would sit up. First of all, your hardcore wrestling fan, they're going to watch the real stuff. They're going to dig up some vintage AWA. They're going to dig up some vintage WCW,
right. Exactly.
Midwest. They're going to look at all that stuff.
Hey, man, I watch a hell of a lot more than 8 hours of wrestling a week on my own DVDs and stuff like that. I'm not going to watch the product that they have right now for 8 hours.
Not right now, no. I mean, don't get me wrong. That little Saturday morning slam, that's good for kids. I think that's a really nice fit, but the other stuff is just way too much, and it's like, yeah, of course WWE's main event, it's going to be one of the hottest acts of the night in its age demographics because it's on a network that people hardly get. It's like, it's on the Ion. What the heck is the Ion? Never heard of it. Well, apparently WWE's on there. Let's go see what it's about.
Well, and that goes back to, I think they're trying to cover up. Because if I'm not mistaken, we're supposed to have the WWE network up and running by now. I don't know what's going on with that.
Right.
So
you're absolutely
you're just adding different TV shows on different channels to kind of block out our memory of the WWE network, which is not really blocked out. We're just like, hey, what are you doing?
Too many people are scared. They don't think the network will be able to stand on its own, so they're really afraid to take that leap. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I
think that's what they're doing with Ryback also. While they keep having Ryback win his matches, just like while they keep adding on more TV time to kind of build up WWE. Because I mean, I hate to bust him out, but Ryback, he's had a lot of flops. He's starting to turn into a Sin Cara. We all know how he flops a lot. Well, he used to flop a lot. I just looked at a YouTube because I work night shifts, and I just looked at a YouTube, and I saw the live show, which was earlier this week or sometime last week between CM Punk and Ryback, and Ryback couldn't even lift up Paul Heyman for the shell shock. He couldn't even lift him up.
I heard about that. Yeah, that was legit struggling.
I've seen the video. Like, if you guys want, if you guys are on Twitter, I'm actually getting ready to go to work, but I can post the link, and you can definitely watch it, because it's like, when I saw it, I was like, wow, you can't pick up Paul Heyman? Really?
Wow.
I mean, he doesn't even have a full head of hair. You know, he should be able to pick him up. So, you know.
That big beefy dude can't pick up Paul Heyman. Man, if I had that look, all them dudes he be picking up 2, 3 of them, marching around in a little circle, doing his little shell shock, and he can't pick up poor Paul Heyman?
And he couldn't pick up, you remember a couple weeks ago, he couldn't pick up Tenzai, or Albert. He couldn't pick up Albert.
No, I think Tenzai was acting like a horse and said, it ain't happening, brother.
Oh, you think that's what it was?
Being a dick.
I think exactly that's what it was. Oh, God. Yeah, I think exactly that's what it was. Guys, we appreciate you guys coming to the show. You guys went, like, pat yourselves on the back. We can't thank you guys enough. You didn't, like, mad overtime. I was only thinking, like, an hour. We went into some mad overtime. Good questions there from some of you in the chat room there, and I see you all interacting with us for a little bit in there. Dave, stick around. We're just really getting started. Once again, check out Justin Reno's website at justinreno.com. Like he was saying earlier, he's going to be having some really great matches that's going to be coming up in the upcoming weeks. Justin, give him that information one more time, what you're going to be doing this weekend, bro.
Blitz Pro Wrestling this Saturday in Joliet, Illinois. And, you know, you can go to pwblitz.com or prowrestlingblitz.com, same website. Elite Pro Wrestling the week after that in Toma, Wisconsin. And I don't remember if it was a listener of your show or if it was Scuda or who mentioned St. Louis. But I'm going to be in the St. Louis area. All right, I'm going to be in the St. Louis area on November 10th. Back with MECW Wrestling. They haven't been around for a couple months. They're back. This is going to be their 5-year anniversary show. Real pumped for that. So, you know, go to justinreno.com, look up, you know, location, times, everything. Everything's there.
I need to get with you on that. I'll definitely come on since it's here in my hometown. I'll definitely get with you on that one.
Yeah, that sounds good. Y'all need to give me the full fallout from that, and then Scuda, give me your information one more time, bro.
Follow me on Twitter. Like I said, I work nights, so you guys, what I do at night, it's very boring. So I just be online watching WWE. I look at WrestleZone.com, Bleacher Report, all of that stuff. So follow me on Twitter, official Scuda. That's OFFICALSCOODA. Then again, you can check out my website at iamscuda.com. And then, like I said, if you have an Android phone, just go to the Play Store, type in Scuda, SCOODA, and all my information is there as well. So I'm on your phone. So if you have an Android, I'm on your phone. You just got to find me.
And I have just added you on Facebook, Scuda.
What'd you say?
I just liked your page, so find me, brother.
Cool.
I love this.
Like I said, as soon as I get to work, I'm gonna be there all night. I'm gonna be online all night.
I love this. The power of the RCWR show, just bringing people together, and such great harmony. I love it, man. I love it. I really do. I know that sounded sarcastic, but I'm being very serious. I love this. We got to do this again. This was really awesome. Hey, Scooter, we'll definitely talk during the week. I know you say you want to try to maybe do something post Hell in a Cell. We'll definitely talk. And, let's see what happens with the Royal Rumble next year, man. I think that'd be pretty freaking awesome.
Cool. Well, like I said, if you guys are still going to be online chatting and stuff, I'll join the chat in about an hour, and I'll definitely be on with you guys. All
right. That's what's up. The famous Justin Reno and Scuda, two of our favorites. We love it when you guys come onto the show. We're definitely going to do this again. Thank you guys for taking the time out of your schedule to join us tonight for this special 100th episode. I hope you guys had a good time, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the night.
All right. Appreciate you.
All right, guys. That was pretty solid right there, man. I like that. Lovely co-producer Tammy. How was that?
That was pretty great.
Yeah, that was That was pretty solid there, man. I was liking that right there. We got to give a man a shout out once again to the famous Justin Reno and to Scuda coming on by, helping us out with the show. Definitely appreciate the love right there. All right, we still got plenty of showtime left. We still got to give away some prizes, Tammy. We still got to give away prizes. We got to cover just a little bit in what's been happening with wrestling headlines, which really hasn't been too much of anything that's been happening. So we'll be able to go through that in just no time. For those of you that might have checked out the episode description and you probably looked at the big block of time and probably said to yourself, oh, my God, good God, don't freak out. We just reserved that block of time so that we could just go naturally at our own beat and not feel rushed off the air. I don't think, we got plenty of showtime left, but we're not going to use all of it up. So we're just going to take a very brief commercial break, and I do mean a brief one. We did have a new commercial that was going to premiere for you guys tonight, but I wasn't able to upload it in time because I was doing a lot of multitasking. So instead, we're just going to play a very brief commercial break, and then when we come right back, we'll go on ahead and we'll jump into everything. I think, Tammy, we'll just kick things off talking about that WWE 13 contest before we go any further into what else is going to be happening on the show, and then we'll take it from there. So you're listening to the Tuesday Night Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR Show, coming at you live right now on October 23rd, 2012. We'll be coming right back, folks. Do hang tight.
Hold one. Arm drag. Whoa! This is
Brett screwed Brett. Who are you to doubt El Daniels? Because this guy's a serious professional. Brett screwed Brett.
hold two. Arm bar.
Hey, get a nice shot of the brand new Mr. and Mrs. Hunter First Helmsman.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate your hat. I hate your T-shirts. I hate your wristbands. I hate your shoes. I hate your music. I hate the C-Nation. I hate everything that you stand for.
Sodas rule. Yeah, they do.
Hole three. The moss-covered three-handle family Gradunzo. Live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., this is the RCWR Show with your host, Lee Sanders.
All right, and we are back. This is the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, joined by the lovely co-producer Tammy. You're checking out an all-new episode right now on October 23rd, 2012. Hope you guys have been enjoying the show so far. Now, we're actually going to be remixing this, and I know you guys are probably saying to yourselves that's listened to this episode from the very beginning, what, no remixing is needed? Well, I kind of thought the beginning there was a little bit shaky, mainly because we weren't really sure what was happening with Scuda, and it was so funny because right before we came on the air, and Tammy, we were talking. I said, okay, the goal needs to be to get both of these guys on the show. They need to be in the screening room 15 minutes before, just make sure, we all are cool and everybody's ready to go. Everybody's nice and comfortable, just ready to have at it. And I got sidetracked, and then I'm like, oh, my God, 5 minutes left. Reno was just patiently waiting. He was ready to go. Scuda was MIA there for a little bit, so we weren't really sure what was happening there. Obviously, it was something personal that he needed to take care of. But whatever it was, really glad that he was able to come on to the show tonight. I'm glad that, I got my Bruce Banner in check because, sometimes Bruce Banner tries to have a Hulk moment, and I don't like when that happens. So,
well, that's why they call it live.
Because anything can happen. That's right.
Absolutely.
Anything can happen. As long as we've been doing this, and we've done this 100 episodes now, that was probably, and the episode isn't even over yet, Tammy, but that was probably one of the best experiences I've had since we've done this show so far. Well,
that's part of the celebration.
Yeah.
That's part of the celebration for the fans and, for us at the RCWR Show.
Yeah. And you're definitely going to like some of the things that we have to say later, because I'm just going to close out the show towards the end, and I'm going to give you my reflections, and I'm going to be very personal for once, and I'm going to just really give you a taste of the man behind being live on the air, just talking about wrestling. I'm going to give you a little piece of the real me and give you insight into what led me to do what I'm doing, and let you know what's going to be in store of the future for the RCWR show. I think you guys will like what all we have to say with regards to that. But, you know, before we go any further, we need to talk about this WWE 13 contest that we had going on for the entire month of October. I believe we verbally made the announcement late September. And then we started being very aggressive with the advertising earlier this month, followed by putting a YouTube video up there, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, we really were very aggressive in the way we did this marketing. And we kept telling you guys that it was for a very worthy cause, that all the donations that you are going to be giving to us, we were not going to be pocketing, that we were going to be giving to the Susan G. Komen Foundation, because it was all this month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so even if it was a case where you guys didn't win, at least you could take comfort knowing that the money had went towards a very worthy cause, right? Well, right. That brings us to tonight. Now, I have bad news. And I think you guys know what that bad news is. If you're not aware, we're gonna honestly, you know, and I'm stumbling on my words right now because I'm emotional right now because I'm a little disappointed. We are not going to be able to award anybody with a WWE 13 video game. And the reason for that, keep in mind how long we've been doing this contest. We verbally kicked it off in late September. We've been pushing it all this month, right up to this episode where we thought we were going to be giving somebody a $70, $80 value. I just pre-ordered it. I didn't even ask them what was the full amount. I just pre-ordered it. And we pre-ordered the limited edition Stone Cold Steve Austin copy, doing all this aggressive marketing, thinking that we were going to get somebody. We only received 2 donations. 2 donations. And I got to admit, I've seen the numbers for the show. I've seen the comments that have come in from people on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube. Everybody has a lot of great things to say about the show. They like the message that we're trying to put out there. They like our approach to wrestling. And to know that only 2 people, and I'll put them on the spot right now because we thank them tremendously. They believed in the cause. They thought it was a good deed. And we appreciate them taking the time to dip into their pockets and donating to the cause, which is Dave from Michigan. And we also have a gentleman by the name of Michael, somebody that we really are not aware of, but apparently he's been listening to the show at his own accord. He donated. You know, we thank you guys for donating, but unfortunately we cannot give anybody a copy of the WWE 13 video game because we only received 2 donations. Now, some of you might say, well, what's the big difference? It's only 2 donations. Co-Producer Tammy, take the floor, give them better insight into why we just aren't able to do this.
Well, you know, Lee, I mean, don't get me wrong, for the people who donated, thank you so much, and the proceeds that we got from the donations will go, plus we're going to match and exceed your donations to the Corman Foundation, so that your donations will not go in vain. But it's just, you know, not feasible for us because part of what we're doing is we do it for the love of our fans. We do it for the love of the show, and we're coming out of our pockets to do these contests for you guys. And you know, we love you guys, but to do both would just be too much. So we are going to honor the donations and send those and match and exceed that to the Corman Foundation, so that this event will be, remembered as such.
And, if you ask me realistically, and you hit it dead on the nail, Tammy, if you ask me realistically, what was I picturing, like, grand total donations? When it started coming down to the final wire, and the weekend was almost up, this past weekend was almost up, I said to Tammy, I said to Zed, I even said it to my girlfriend, I said, you know what, if I can get at least 5 people that can donate before we come on live on the air. I had pre-ordered 2 copies of the limited edition Stone Cold Steve Austin game. 1 copy was for me. The other one was going to be for the winner. I said to all these guys, I said, you know what? If I can get at least 5 people to donate before we go live on the air, I know we still have to give something to the Coleman Foundation. You know what? We can't buy both games. That's just too much. I'll tell you what, I'm willing to give the winner my copy, my personal copy. I'll give it to them, and I'll just get WWE 13 for Christmas or on my birthday. That was the step I was willing to take because I was just really excited in the idea of giving somebody a kick-ass video game that's being dubbed one of the best in a long time, is being dubbed by IGN as it's going to be very hard for THQ to top this video game. This is hands down the best video game to date, the best wrestling video game, period. So I was very excited at the idea of, all right, I'm going to be able to hook somebody up with WWE 13, and, to not be able to do that, it saddens me, but at the same time, it also makes me ask a very interesting question, which is, did we do anything to kind of make you guys that heard our contest, that kind of made you guys feel a little iffy, maybe a little wish-washy, or, was it a case where financially you just couldn't even afford to donate $1, if not to us, to the Coleman Foundation? We would like to know exactly why some of you were not able to donate, and if it's something that we had did on our end that kind of made you feel a little bit uncomfortable, then we definitely need to know about it so that the next time we do a contest, we will make sure that we have all bases covered. Now, we tried to make you guys feel as comfortable as possible when we said, if you don't want to donate to us directly, you can donate to the Coleman Foundation. Just cough up $1 to them. Send us a tweet, send us an email. Let us know that you coughed up that $1, and we'll enter you in the contest. And that didn't even happen. So, it saddens me that we're not going to be able to hook up a contest winner, but we still got love for you guys. I mean, we actually did put our money together, and we were able to dig up a few goodies to try to give on today's episode, and or tonight's episode, rather. And up for grabs, we have a WWE 13 CM Punk shirt. What else do we have? We got some Mike Tyson downloadable content cards so that you'll be able to play as him when you get ready to check out the video game. You don't have to worry about waiting down the road until the Mike Tyson stuff comes out in the marketplace. We got a couple of goodies that's right here, and the way that it's going to go down is, you just call into the show, and, this is a special shout-out to those who have not won our previous contests. And the last contest that we did was I believe we had coughed up Rock versus Cena, and we had some other stuff that was up for grabs. But if you had won the last contest that we did, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get in on this one. We want to try to give new listeners a chance to be able to win some really cool prizes. And the way it works, well, I know originally, Tammy, I was just thinking, if we get some random callers, turns out they've been checking out the show for a good minute, we'll hook them up. We could do it like that. Or, I know you were talking about the idea of a wrestling trivia question. What do you want to try to do tonight?
Well, I tell you what, let's show our listeners some love. If you call in and to the show and you are not a previous winner of one of our contests, you know what? Just tell us what you like most about the show, and we'll hook you up.
Yeah. I think that's pretty fair. I like that. We could put them on the spot, and, as we're going through the course of this episode, we see that we get somebody calling in. We'll take them. We'll put them on the spot. I think that's pretty awesome right there, and it has to be sincere. Be brutally honest. It could be a case where maybe there's something about the show you don't like. We don't want you to try to come off as if you're kissing up to us. We don't like that. Just be brutally honest. You could either say, you know what, this is what I like about the show. Or you could say, you know what, the show's got potential, but this is what I don't like. We'll respect you either way. I think that's more than fair.
I think so, because there's not too many shows that would do that.
No, there isn't, because they don't have the guts.
But we appreciate your opinion either way.
Exactly, and that's the main point, is that we appreciate you all, the loyal listeners, because when it's all said and done, we wouldn't be able to keep doing this show if it wasn't for you guys. That's why we're able to continue to do what we do every single week, whether it's Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays. That's why we're able to keep doing what we're doing, because we love what we do. We love being able to provide a really good wrestling show for you guys and give you guys that platform to be able to call into the show and be able to talk about what you liked or disliked for that week's respected wrestling shows or whatever's got you worked up wrestling news-wise. And, speaking of wrestling news-wise, Tammy, we don't have an official WWE Raw rating just yet, but from what we have been able to gather from this past Monday night's Raw, the viewership, that's right, the viewership had averaged about 3.58 million for the first hour. Now, grand total, it averaged 3.55 million viewers over the course of 3 hours. So check it. The first hour, it did 3.58 million. The second hour did 3.65 million. The third hour did 3.47 million viewers. So we'll have the official Raw rating in just a couple of weeks. But so far, this past week's episode of Raw had the fewest viewers for any episode this year, gaining even less viewers than the September 24th episode. And that episode, respectively, did 3.79 million viewers and drew the smallest audience for a non-holiday episode in over 5 years. Now, keep in mind, it did face a little bit of stiff competition because we had that presidential debate, we had the Monday Night Football game, and then we had the National League Championship Series, Game 7 there. So a lot of stuff was happening all on that night. Very curious to see how Raw will do post Hell in a Cell. But it kind of goes back, Tammy, to what Scuda and Justin Reno were talking about earlier, what all of us were saying, how Raw, unfortunately, the 3 hours, sometimes it's a hit for them, and then other times it's a miss.
Yeah, they did have a lot of stiff competition as far as what was on last night. But it kind of goes back again to, when is it too much? Because honestly, I really think that 3 hours of Raw is really too much. Mm-hmm. And I have a feeling that it's showing in the ratings.
Yeah, it is showing, yeah. It's showing in the ratings because the fans are, some of them at least, they're starting to get a little agitated. They don't quite like what they see. And like we had heard from Scuda there, or Justin Reno rather, he has gotten to that point right now where he just is ready to just start watching Smackdown, period, and just leave Raw alone. Anytime you have a long-time WWE Raw fan say that, you know that flagship show that Vince McMahon likes to dub Raw He dubs it as the flagship show for WWE. Anytime you have that casual WWE Raw viewer saying that, that's serious problems. And you know what? Maybe that's why we're seeing what we're seeing now with Ryback. I read a very interesting article. It was a transcript of an appearance that Chris Jericho had made on a internet radio show. I believe it was over the weekend. And he was talking about what all is happening with Ryback right now. And Jericho went out there on a limb. He said, you know what, at this point, I can actually see Ryback winning the WWE Championship. When you really think about it, CM Punk, the only thing he really cares about is the money. He doesn't care about the wins or the losses. He'll lose to whoever he needs to lose to. That's what a good heel does. That's exactly what CM Punk is about. And Ryback, the smart money, what's good for business right now is to have Ryback be the new WWE champion. What good does it do CM Punk to get a win over Ryback? Absolutely nothing. And you've hurt Ryback's momentum. And Jericho just went into this big domino effect where he basically was saying, you could set this up so that Ryback could take on Rock, get a nice rub-off from him, but eventually lose the title to The Rock, maybe even set Ryback up for a match against Undertaker. I mean, Jericho was just really going all over the place, and though I appreciated his points and I appreciated him saying that whether we like it or not, we being the seasoned WWE fans, whether we like it or not of what's happening with Ryback and the push that he's getting, it is what it is. He also brought up the fact that the seasoned WWE fans will tend to be the same ones that'll sit up and complain about there not being that necessary new change in the WWE, that there's no new rivalries, there's new mega stars. We're here, we finally have it, and basically Jericho's message was embrace it.
I can agree to a point. But for the a little bit less seasoned Raw viewer, or actually of the WWE, I've seen, even in my viewership of when I started watching Raw to now, oh my gosh, it really is more of a watered-down version. Mm-hmm. It's less wrestling. It's more talk. And just like Scuda said, and it's a very good point, is there's a difference between a bad skit and a good skit. The good skits that have you invested. Mm-hmm. These skits that they're doing now really don't have you invested. They give you a chuckle, but you're not invested. So
I must admit, if you strip me, Lee, the guy talking about wrestling live on the air, you just strip me of that rank, you strip me of the radio show, and you just deal with me as the wrestling fan. I must admit, I am just intrigued by the Ryback. I'm just in awe of it. I mean, I have my doubts of this, but when I started having the doubts, I'm one of those type of people, when I have doubts about something, I get to that point where I just do my research. And I don't do the research to try to convince myself that everything's going to be good. I do the research to see if I can pull off enough information on a particular person or topic to really be able to get a better read. And that's actually what I used to do. And one of my many line of odd jobs, I actually used to have to profile people for a living, working at a government building, doing security work. And from what I've been able to gather on Ryback, 30 years old, the guy's been paying his dues since like almost the early 2000s, and he's getting this nice rub off from John Cena, Vince McMahon, CM Punk, and it's obvious that they see something in this guy. Now, we're hearing from the house show, Scuda had alluded to one of the house shows there where Ryback had a hard time picking up Paul Heyman. Well, the newest update that we have on that is that CM Punk, Ryback, they've been continuing to do matches at their house show events, and it's been said that CM Punk has been very hands-on in his matches with Ryback at these house shows, really trying to break him in to that mat wrestling type of style. And from the latest house show that we had heard between the two, Ryback had dominated for a majority of the match, so he actually finally took the lead for once, and it's been getting nothing but great positive reviews. So normally, when you really think about it here, let's not forget, we got WWE Raw, we got Smackdown that airs twice a week on television. We got to keep in mind that these wrestlers, they are sitting up, and they are going to all these house shows, and they're working out the kinks. They're trying out their new little rivalries. Most times, some of these new story angles that we're seeing that's happening with some of these wrestlers, they're trying it out in front of a live crowd at a house show. So to hear this type of buzz about Ryback so far, it's almost sounding as if WWE has done the right thing with Ryback, but we'll know for sure come this Sunday, because it's going to prove either two things. Number one, if Ryback falls on his face, it's going to confirm what we, the seasoned WWE fans, have been saying. You don't push somebody that fast. Take them back to the chopping block, make them work their way back up to the top. Or if Ryback succeeds, then it sends the message to Vince McMahon that he has to have more faith in creating new wrestlers, new stars.
Good analogy.
Yeah. You know, so.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the house shows are really Vince McMahon's focus groups.
Mm-hmm.
You know, okay, so at the house shows we're going to try this. Okay, this is what worked. This is what. So then we carry that over to, you know, SmackDown and Raw.
Right, exactly. I don't know how many of you guys remember Gene Snitzky, but apparently this guy has been making his rounds on Twitter. He's trying very, very hard to get a job back with the WWE. Now, keep in mind, Gene Snitzky, he's 42 years old, and he was actually seen backstage at a Saturday Raw event in Reading, Pennsylvania. And I actually saw the picture that he had posted of himself on Twitter, because I follow him. He posted a pic of himself with Tensai while adding the words, possibly new tag teams in the WWE, what you think. I must admit, I'm kind of intrigued by the combination of those two guys. But, you know, the one thing that I haven't liked that Gene Snitzky has been doing is he's been bashing some of his WWE colleagues. Now, point right here, he brought up Drew McIntyre. And this is what he said to one of his Twitter followers. He said, and I quote, "How does McIntyre still have a job? Just wondering." Then another fan had asked Gene Snitzky what did he think of McIntyre's three-man band partner, Heath Slater, then the fact that he's also employed by the WWE still. And Snitzky said, yeah, him too. Fucking horrible. Snitzky continued calling McIntyre, or actually railing him by ridiculing him for the various in-ring persona changes that he's had over the years. And he was quoted saying, he's been repackaged so many times, I lost count. Ask Charlie Haas about him. And he added his views on Haas. Basically, it rhymes with bits. You all get the drift right there. So, you know, on the one hand, you're kind of looking at this, you're hearing this, you're saying, Gene Snitzky, nice big guy, kind of old, but if he still's got the build, if he can still move, yeah, he'd be pretty freaking awesome to be in the WWE paired up with Tensai. Yeah, that would be awesome. But then he's bashing his WWE colleagues. Tammy, good thing or bad thing?
Well, for me, it's kind of like more the same to a point, because we're already talking about how, you know, we have the veterans in there, and you're trying to, you know, bring in new blood, fresh meat, you know, to carry the company, you know, forward. Mm-hmm. So, you know, where would they benefit from bringing him back? And especially the fact that he, you know, I mean, your opinion is one thing. And with Twitter, you know, honestly, it could be a good thing and it could be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Especially depending on how you use it.
Exactly. Other wrestling-related news, we have reported it on our website. We got Smackdown ratings in for last Friday. You know, it's kind of rare that we talk about the Smackdown ratings. Just thought we'd make it be a rare appearance right here, as this past Friday's Smackdown ratings hasn't officially been released, but we are aware that the episode had gained 2.93 million viewers. Now, so far, just based off of the viewership alone, it's up significantly by almost 15 points when you compare it to last week's episode that had gained a 1.88 rating with 2.57 million viewers. Now, this past Friday night's episode of SmackDown is also up to the week prior to that previous Friday, as it had scored a 1.74 rating with 2.39 million viewers. It just shows you the strength in the numbers there that SmackDown has been having over WWE Raw, which has remained at a stalemate. But from what we've been able to gather so far with those Raw ratings that we were talking about a few minutes ago, it looks like the viewership is down again, so I would suspect that be a lower rating this week. Probably sounds like it might be a 2.70 rating, possibly. Thoughts on how SmackDown's been doing?
Well, SmackDown has really been picking it up, you know, with more wrestling, and even some of the skits, they're better. Mm-hmm. You know, I find that from in the beginning, it's almost kind of like SmackDown and Raw have done a switch to a point for me, where SmackDown is the stronger and Raw is the weaker of the two. Exactly.
And, you know, Zed was talking on Twitter. I can't remember who he was talking to, but he was bringing up the whole Stone Cold Steve Austin thing that we were talking about on the RCWR Show Weekend Report, where Stone Cold Steve Austin, he has some choice words to say about the World Heavyweight Champion Sheamus. And pretty much after he initially made those comments, which basically Steve Austin was saying Sheamus really isn't good enough to be a World Heavyweight Champion right now, that he needs a lot more work. Sheamus countered back very politely, very respectfully, sat up and said he's going to continue to basically bust his ass, do what he needs to do to try to become a better wrestler, better champion. And after we did that initial episode, apparently Stone Cold had reached out to Sheamus the next day, so it was Sunday that he reached out to him and basically told him, you know, believe in yourself. Gave him a nice little hoorah. And I know Zed, he was originally looking at that, and he was saying to himself, you know what, Stone Cold is kind of doing damage control here, because he realized he just trashed the World Heavyweight Champion. He just trashed the second best guy on the roster, or so you'd like to think. Really, the top two guys is Cena and CM Punk. Sheamus comes in really at third, but when you're looking at the belt that's around his waist, then you have to make him be the second man. But what was your take on that? Do you feel that Stone Cold realized he had kind of caught himself in a bad place there and he was trying to do a little damage control, or do you think Stone Cold originally might have not even had any malice in his choice words for the heavyweight champion Sheamus?
Oh, I don't think he had any malice. I think he was just being Stone Cold. I think he was telling it like it is. You know, honestly, for Sheamus, I see that being with him. Once the road to getting to where he is now seemed to be more exciting and more able to watch. Now it's just kind of like, I'm here and I'm doing what I need to do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't see that fire, that same drive, you know, now. I think Stone Cold was selling it like it was or is. And I really think that maybe it was in a slight way just a message to him, but I really don't think he did have any malice towards Sheamus. Do I think he was doing damage control? I think once he realized it got out to the magnitude that it did, oh yeah, you bet he was doing damage control.
You know, just thinking about Stone Cold Steve Austin, I don't know if you guys had checked this video out. I stumbled upon it by accident. If y'all remember the movie E.T., there is this idiot that is walking around in a car, and he's got an E.T. mask on, and he's got a sheet over his body, so it looks like it's E.T. dressed in a Hugh Hefner robe or whatever, and he's in his car. And he is just doing one phenomenal Stone Cold Steve Austin impression as he's pulling up through a drive-thru. And, I mean, folks, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, just picture it, folks. E.T. drives up to a White Castle drive-thru. This is Stone Cold E.T. Stone Cold E.T. says he's going to open up a big fat can of whoop-ass if you don't give him a bag of cheeseburgers. Give me a hell yeah. And that is pretty much Stone Cold E.T. Look it up on YouTube or just do a Google search, Stone Cold E.T. You'll thank me later. I was just laughing so freaking hard. I know, Tammy, you're probably hearing this for the first time. You're probably saying, what the hell was he? I'll show you. I wanted to play the audio clip on the show tonight, but I didn't want to get into any type of trouble from the original uploader. But, I mean, it was so funny. I want to try to see if I can get the guy on the show. I mean, that's just how funny he is. He's got a lot of great stuff on his YouTube channel. You'll know the guy when you see it. He does a great impersonation of Al Bundy at a drive-thru. He does a great impersonation of Randy Orton coming through a drive-thru. I mean, that one was just priceless itself. That man just was like, my name is Randy Orton, and I want a cheeseburger. I'm like, wow. But the Stone Cold Steve Austin, that one was just really, really on point. That one was just really hilarious. You know, I honestly, other than myself, I think that guy has the top-notch best Stone Cold Steve Austin impression. I mean, just seeing that, he needs to make a sequel to that, and he needs to have Stone Cold Steve Austin be at a all-you-can-eat buffet. I mean, that would just be amazing. Hey there, son. I see you. You're looking at that last egg roll, aren't you, boy? You think you're going to get one up on Stone Cold Steve Austin, you're going to get that last egg roll, don't you, boy? Well, I tell you what, Stone Cold Steve Austin going to open up big fat can of whoop-ass all over this country buffet if you touch that egg roll. And that's the bottom line. So Stone Cold said so.
Wow.
Do not ever
was something else.
Do not ever ask me to do a Stone Cold Steve Austin impression again. It's going to be a good minute. I figure once in a blue moon, I'll give you guys a taste of my voice talent, as I have the tendency to throw a couple of personalities out there. Here's a nice little interesting skit now that I'm thinking about it. I'm actually suggested to this guy, maybe he should do a what if. What if Al Pacino cross paths with Stone Cold Steve Austin? Could you just imagine how that would go? Hey, I know you. You're Stone Cold Steve Austin, big man. Oh God! And then you just see Stone Cold. He just has that look on his face. Hey, you're Al Pacino. I know all about you, son. Hell, Stone Cold seen your Scarface movies. I don't know how many times. Whoop up, Counter Bear, Stone Cold, love your movies. Good actor, hell of a man. And you go back to Al Pacino. Well, I must say, that compliment coming from you has got to be the greatest smoke up my ass. Hoo-ha. I think it's time to move on now.
I think it is.
That's enough impersonation. That's all you guys are getting from me. I think the golden rule needs to be every 100 episodes, you get a taste of an impersonation. I'll give you one more and we'll end it on a good note. I know Tammy likes this one. I got to go with South Park right here. All right? Let's go with South Park right here, okay?
Hey, my name is Randy Orton, and I am the RKO. I'm the Viper, Randy Orton, and I'm going to hit you with my RKO. I hear voices in my head. They tell me what to do. They understand me.
I know we got some listeners that's hearing this now, and they are probably, I got you laughing, though. I got you laughing. Okay, let's end it on that note. I know some people are probably listening to this. They're probably like, where is the original Black Avenger? Where's Lee? Lee's still here. He's just having a little fun. Every 100 episodes, that's the golden rule. We'll bust out some voice impersonations for you guys. If you have your personal favorite that you would like to hear, send it to us on Twitter at Infinity1Prod, and you can expect that delivery within 2 to 4 weeks, okay? All right. So, let's talk
cheap
about...
plugs here.
Huh?
No cheap plugs here.
Well, no cheap plugs right here in Gaithersburg, Maryland, Washington, D.C., Virginia. See, you said that I had to go make Foley there, my bad. All right. All right. You know, we've had all this great fun. You know, we're going to open up the phone lines one more time before we go off the air for tonight. I want to let you guys know what we got planned up for the weekend, as it's going to be the WWE Hell in a Cell. It's going to be coming to us live from hot Atlanta, Georgia. It's going to be a very, very interesting pay-per-view. You heard the round table if you had joined us at the beginning of the show earlier tonight. You got a great idea what we all think about this pay-per-view. There's no denying it. This pay-per-view, it needs some serious shock value. There is a lot of lack in depth when you look at the card. There's going to be some twists, some turns, some shocking stuff is going to happen. It's going to need to happen at this pay-per-view. Otherwise, the buy rates are just really going to be bad. And as we had reported earlier on the show, the past 3 Hell in a Cell pay-per-views, the buy rates have just been going down. So WWE, they really need to hit a home run this Sunday. We're going to get you guys ready for the RCWR Show. We're going to get you guys ready for the WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view coming up this Sunday. We're kicking it off this Saturday with a special edition of the RCWR Show. Call that match special. You heard what everybody here had to say, but if you noticed, I was a little bit mum right here. I was just taking notes here. I'm going to chime in my thoughts. I'm going to let you guys know who I think is going to be walking away victorious at Sunday's pay-per-view. And I think you might like some of my picks, so make sure you check that out. It's pretty freaking awesome. If you're new to it, you'll appreciate the series. Nice in-depth look, breakdown on each match, how the winner should play out, what to expect for that week's bunch of episodes of Raw to come. It's really nice. You'll appreciate it. It all leads up into the RCWR post show this Sunday that's going to be covering the Hell in a Cell Fallout. We're going to have live fan interactions. If you like what you heard with Justin Reno, Scuda, Tammy, myself, you're going to like our post shows, as we get a ton of people that like to call in, tweet us, enter the chat room, share their thoughts on the pay-per-view. So you want to check that out. It's going to be really freaking solid. That's going to be at 11 p.m. Eastern this Sunday. Let's reflect now on 100 episodes of the RCWR Show, and then we'll open up the phone lines one more time. You know, Tammy, you saw how this radio show had came about, and, you know, I said I was going to be real for a moment, and, you know, when I originally did this, it all started very small. I sat up, I had a dead-end job that I just could not stand. I did not see a career path for myself where I was employed. I just felt like the man just kept sticking it to me, and it just got to the point where I sat up and said, you know what, I'm not happy anymore, and it was affecting my relationship with those that I care about a lot. And I sat up and said, you know what, I need to find new happiness. I need to start rebuilding from scratch and figure out what I want to do, what makes me happy. And what ended up making me happy was my love of wrestling. And it went a little deeper than that. In my case, I've had years of sitting up and always writing stories and writing a bunch of underground comic books, inking, drawing underground comic books. And that love combined with wrestling, I've been watching wrestling since I was a 5-year-old kid in the 80s. So that lets you know how old I am. And I just combine all that love, and I just say, you know what, I need to go on ahead and I need to try to pursue this and make something positive happen out of it. And originally, a radio show was not on my agenda. True story. A radio show was not in my cards. Originally, I just wanted to create a website, a wrestling website where I didn't get any weird pop-ups. I didn't have to see porn. You guys know what I'm talking about. You visited some wrestling websites, and for some weird reason, you get redirected to a porn site. All of a sudden, you got a damn Trojan, and you're like, damn, should have never went to that wrestling website. Well, you know, that was pretty much my main reason. Well, I don't know what the heck that was, but that was pretty much my main reason for sitting up and creating the website, and I wanted to work with other people that appreciated wrestling as well and have them contribute articles, get their opinion on stuff, and just try to make it be a honest type of environment for, you know, people to come check out. But I wanted it to be so much more than wrestling. I wanted it to be a reflection of my personality. That's why if you go to the website, you'll not only see wrestling, you'll see stuff from music and whatever else is kind of hip, kind of current. You know, it gives you a great insight into my personality, kind of like what I like to talk about, that honestly a lot of other people like to talk about, because we live in a society where nowadays it's all about PSY, Rihanna, the Black Eyed Peas, some lame-ass acts that really they can't sing worth a damn. Meanwhile, we got guys like Metallica, Foo Fighters, Green Day. Their era is pretty much written off. And I just think that's kind of jacked up, you know, because what we're hearing now, that's not real entertainment. Let's be for real. And, you know, I just looked at stuff like that, and, you know, that's why I created the Infinity One Productions website. The radio show came about, and it was so funny because there was this radio show that I would always listen to. There's two of them. One of them is no longer on the air, but there was two wrestling radio shows that I would always check out religiously. And back when I was working security, I worked a graveyard shift, so I worked a 1 to 9. I would just be kicking back, and it was a nice little sweet sight. I would just be able to kick back. I would be able to watch movies, all that, and just kicking back, writing in my journal, doing daily log updates. There's this two wrestling radio shows I used to check out every time I went to work, and they would keep me going through my shift. Lord knows, there were so many times I just wanted to go to sleep somewhere, and those shows, they kept me up. But there was a lot of things that they were saying that was just silly. In some cases, we had the show's host bashing the listeners for calling into the show. They were calling them stupid, calling them all kinds of derogatory names, throwing a race card out there. And, it was one of those type of deals where I really kind of felt like the listeners, they really didn't have a true voice that could appreciate what it is that they're trying to say. It's okay to disagree, but it doesn't mean that, you're stupid. Nobody's stupid. There's no such thing as stupid. There's no such thing as a stupid question. There's no such thing as a stupid comment. I think stupid comes in when you don't show a level of intellect, when you don't show a level of knowing right from wrong. And you know better. You're just being stupid. You're throwing caution into the wind. That's how I look at it. And I got tired of hearing these radio shows just constantly bash the fans like that. I got tired of dealing with some of these wrestling shows. They want you to put money in their pocket. They want you to listen to them, and, they don't really do anything nice for you. It seems like they're doing something nice for you, but when it's all said and done, you're breaking an arm and a leg to put money in their pocket, and they really aren't giving back. Tammy, I don't really know of too many wrestling radio shows that will sit up and be like, you know what, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're trying to get some money together. We want to help out the Susan G. Komen Foundation. I don't really know too many wrestling radio shows that just, out the clear blue, let's give some DVDs to some of our listeners just for, checking out the show. Let's give back a little bit because we're that appreciative. We're not just throwing money out there just being careless. We're not just throwing caution in the wind. We do care about our audience. That's our way of letting you guys know we love you guys and we appreciate you all that, support the show. And so I began doing the RCWR show. Originally, it was not on Blog Talk Radio. Originally, I was just doing some pre-recorded stuff, and I was just putting it out there, and I was dealing with some of the most harshest criticism that a man will ever come across. I had people sit up and tell me, dude, you fucking suck. I had people sit up and tell me I did not have what it takes to be in this line of work. I had people tell me that I needed a co-host. I had so many negative people that were just coming at me. It was ridiculous. And I must admit, there were many times I felt weak. Many times I questioned whether or not I should be doing this. Tammy, you and me, Zed, we've had the conversation. We don't have it anymore, but early on, I was questioning whether or not I should be doing this. And at one point I said, you know what, stop taking all the negative stuff that's coming at me and absorbing it and instead turn it into a positive. People saying I suck in this area, okay, well then the next thing you know, I start improving on that. For every single thing that's been thrown at me negatively, I've always been able to capitalize on and improve on. And, the history has shown that for the 100th episode that we've been putting in, as our fan base has continued to grow stronger, listener support has continued to grow stronger. We're making our mark. Do I look at myself as a professional radio disc jockey? Hell no. I'll never claim that title. I could be doing this for 5 years, 10 years. I'll never officially claim that title. But the one thing that I can promise you all, the listeners, is that we will always strive to put on a very fucking solid show for you guys. Whatever we might lack in one episode, we will make sure that we improve on the next episode. And that's pretty much been the way I have been approaching this on a week-to-week basis. And it shows. And for that, 100 episodes, I humbly thank you, the listeners, because we wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for you guys. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Blog Talk Radio, for providing us the platform to be able to talk about really a hobby that we love, that we care about a lot, and we want to make sure it gets the proper treatment that it does. You know, this is a tough business. Not everybody can get into this line of work that we're in and really be able to talk about wrestling. There's kicking back on a sofa and engaging in a friend for 15 minutes talking about wrestling, but to be able to do extensive research and be able to make sure that you hit all your notes, be able to make sure that you've got that personality just radiating when you're on the air, be able to attract those listeners, and be able to be consistent. Not too many people can do that, you know, and we're still new to the game, but we're determined to continue to make our mark and be around here for a good long time. And, you know, the future of the RCWR show, it's looking very bright. Beginning in early 2013, show will be going on the road. Whenever there is a indie little wrestling event going on, we're going to be making it be our business to try to cover it and interact with wrestling fans. We're definitely looking to take the show on the road. We got a lot of big things planned for this. And one of the other things that's going to be coming in 2013, as much as I love flying solo, I'm ready for a co-host. So 2013, the hunt will be on. We're going to be looking for a co-host. Now, for those of you that are Co-Producer Tammy fans, don't worry. She's still going to be doing her thing from time to time. But, you know, unfortunately, and Tammy will be very honest with you guys, you know, unfortunately, you know, she has so much stuff that is just outside of wrestling. And I know one of her personal business endeavors is Mary Kay. And she's quite successful in that. If you guys don't know anything about Mary Kay, talk to your girlfriends, your wives. They'll know about that. She's very successful in that. She's a bit of an entrepreneur in her own way. And, you know, it's going to come a time where she's not really going to be able to juggle that and be able to loan that hand that we need for the RCWR show. And, you know, that's part of the future is, you know, trying to get a co-host that can, you know, pick up where she left off. Zed eventually, he's going to be moving on to some other stuff as well. So, you know, there's going to be a little bit of reshaping going on here in the next coming months. So 2013, the bar is set pretty high, and it's either go big or go home, you know. But we thank you guys tremendously for staying in with us for these 100th episodes. We thank Blog Talk Radio for being able to provide us the platform to be able to cover wrestling. And they're so nice, Tammy. I had a problem earlier this morning where our 100th episode was supposed to be featured on the main website. I get up this morning, it wasn't even on there. It turned out it was an error on their part. I hurry up, sent them the image. I mean, every single time I want to put up a feature for a TNA or WWE pay-per-view, they're always nice. They're always willing to give us that special treatment. And even for the times that they don't look out for us, we never take it personal because we know we're competing with other people, with other shows. And it's all, I must admit, it's always nice when they look out for us.
Yeah, it's definitely appreciated, you know, for the lookout, and you know, because they I'm sure they have hundreds of people who submit their shows, you know, and to have us or have them show love to us like that for, you know, the times that they do, we so appreciate it.
Yeah, we really do. You know, if you want to, you know, chime in your thoughts as we're getting ready to wind down here, we're in the last 5 minutes. Feel free to call in right now, 646-478-3525. Once again, that's 646-478-3525. We'll open up the phone lines one more time. I know we had asked Dave, you know, stick around and everything. Let's get Dave in one more time. You know, and we got to give Dave a lot of props. You know, he's definitely, without a doubt, one of our loyal listeners, and we definitely appreciate him. You know, every single week, the guy, he always has some very valid points to make. You know, if there was ever a guy that, you know, truly is very supportive of the RCWR show, it's listeners like Dave that is the reason why we keep doing what we're doing. Dave, welcome back.
Hey, thanks to you guys, because I was really getting, before I found you guys kept hitting me on Twitter saying, check out the show, and I finally did. I was just getting so sick and tired of this other show I was listening to, because it was like, okay, here's what happened. We might take one phone call, and then that's it. Mm-hmm. It's like there was nothing about at first they were more about fans, but then it seemed like once they became exclusive to Blog Talk, they just stopped, like, caring, basically. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, man, and you guys just really brought back, like, the major fan back in me of wrestling, because be able to, like, sit up and, like, just talk about it in your opinions. And I love when just you guys get into those debates about stuff. And I think you guys found a new great segment, Keeping It Real or something like that. I like that.
Yeah. Well, we haven't done one in a good minute. We've always had to keep it real.
That's what you're just doing, you know. Yeah. What you're just doing, just talking about how your life, how you got started doing this. You're just keeping everything real. How you were just sick of your job, and you're sick of these other shows bashing fans. And you take the time to actually listen. No matter if the fans' argument might not be really valid at all, you still take the time and listen to them and talk to them.
Yeah.
And that's one cool thing I love about this show. And it's so, I mean, I've never won anything before on a show. And I've never donated any money to a show before, or any kind of, and that's the first I've done either with you guys.
Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's a double thank you. You know what? Before we let Dave go, Dave, you said something that gave me a warm, fuzzy feeling right there. I really wish we could give you the WWE game, but unfortunately we didn't get enough donations. But I know you're still going to get the game. I want you to do me a favor, though. Just buy the standard edition, okay? We're going to hook you up right now. I'm going to have Tammy take you in the screening room. We're going to hook you up with a WWE 13 shirt and a Mike Tyson joint. I want you to talk with Tammy here. Tammy, take his information, all right?
Okay.
All right. Put you guys in the screening room in 3, 2, 1. Have at it, guys. All right. I like that. I think that's pretty much going to do it. I think we had a pretty fantastic show tonight. I was not expecting to be on this long. We pulled we did a retro joint right here. We went 2.5 hours. I think those of you that stayed up with us for this episode tonight, I'm glad that we came on at a special start time of 10 p.m. Eastern. You know, we're just going to keep getting better, man. I thank those of you that took the time out to check out this special 100th episode. Thank those of you that had called into the show. Thank those of you that engaged with us in the chat room. As always, we thank you that check us out on the downloads, iTunes, Zoom Marketplaces, Stitcher. We thank those of you that take the time to check us out on YouTube. Shout out to our subscribers, everybody. Mass shout out to you all. We love you guys a lot. And let's keep the ball rolling. That's all I got to say. So this Thursday night, we got a brand new Impact Showdown Radio. We're going to cover the fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling, get you guys' reactions to it, get you guys ready for that WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. For the lovely co-producer Tammy, the famous Justin Reno, hip-hop Christian rapper Scuda, all of you, Blog Talk Radio, I'm the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. You all be safe and be kind to one another, folks. We will see you this Thursday night. Everybody, do have a safe evening. We'll see you this Thursday night at 10 p.m. Eastern.